It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brouhaha Egg Bowl week. Man, what do you think there, Mr. McKee?
I don't know. There have been a lot of them, hasn't there?
A lot of egg bowls.
A lot of egg bowls.
You know, last year we had as our guest on this show, Egg Bowl week, Gary Sigler, who had seen 48 in a row, and then he made 49. This year, I think, could be 50 for him.
50.
You know, he says this may be the last one.
Uh-oh. Well, I mean, 50's pretty good.
Yeah, 50's pretty good. We got a guest tonight.
We do.
An Egg Bowl guest.
I'm glad we got a guest.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I do.
I think this guy has spent a little time. He played a little ball at Wayne County High School, played a little ball at Ole Miss, played a little ball at Kansas City, played a little ball at Texas in the NFL, played a little ball maybe at what is now was the Redskins, now the Commanders at the time. The guy's made a career in the NFL, retired in the NFL, and I believe you got him to talk to us a little bit.
Oh, well, you don't have to say much. All you got to do is say hello to him.
He's not shy.
He fills in the blanks.
That's right. Well, tell us who he is.
Jerell Powe.
Mr. Jerell Powe. You know what? I think he's probably got a lot to say. I mean, he has played in the Egg Bowl. I've seen, 2 or 3 times? And let's just take a break to hear from a sponsor, and then we'll come back and talk to Jerell a little bit. What do you think?
Hey, that sounds great.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break and be back with Jerell Powe to talk Egg Bowl right after this break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Jerell Powe. How are you doing today, Jerell?
I'm doing wonderful, fellas. How about yourself?
Good. I hope life's treating you well. Everybody in Waynesboro. Really, always, I really never heard anybody say a bad thing about Jerell Powe. Everybody just kind of just smiles when you bring his name because everybody's got a story about Jerell. So we appreciate you being on the show tonight for sure. All right.
No problem. I appreciate you guys having me.
Sure. All right. First of all, we're going to talk about the Egg Bowl, okay? And first of all, we want to know some stuff like school's out this week. What's going on for the football team during Egg Bowl week as far as a early Thursday game or even a Saturday game? How is it different from, a normal game week up there?
Well, everybody know the magnitude of this game, Dale. So, this game has been circled all year long. So, everybody is going to get up. Even the guys that wasn't born in the state that plays for State play for Ole Miss. These guys is family now. So, even these guys get up just as much as we do, just as much as the in-state guys to play for this game. This game is for all the marvelous, for all the bragging rights. This helps in recruiting in the state. So, guys staying in focus. Like I said, this game has been circled all year long. I
got you. So tell us what's going on campus during this week. A lot of the stuff.
Well, it's dead. It's dead. All the students is gone. Not really nothing to do. You kind of hang out with, play video games, maybe go out and get something to eat. But it's nothing happening.
I got you. Well, listen. Tell us about your great experience in the Egg Bowl. You probably did something that many defensive linemen don't get to enjoy. So tell us about your experience in the Egg Bowl.
I always in the Egg Bowl. That was my record against state, but I always had great experience in the Egg Bowl. We actually, my sophomore year, I think we set the record. We tied the record for 12 sacks in the game. Went through like 3 of their quarterbacks. I had a pick, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. So, I always had a great experience in the Egg Bowl.
Well, did you know what to do with that pick when you got a hold of it?
I think I got about 2-3 yards. I couldn't get nothing. Hey, I was shocked. I couldn't get nothing. It was cold. So, I mean, I got about 2-3 yards.
Okay. Well, a lot of people say this affects recruiting a lot. The winner of this ball game. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the school that have the bragging rights, the school that win this game, it gives them leverage in recruiting, most definitely. Definitely within the state. I mean, yes.
So, in this Egg Bowl that you played in, the Egg Bowls that you were in, did you know a lot of the guys on the Mississippi State team?
Most definitely. Of course, like Jesse Bowman, who played at Brookhaven. Everybody knows that was one of our high school rivalries. You had Charles Burns, who played on Hattiesburg High when they beat us our sophomore year. So I knew Corey Riley, who played at George County. So a lot of the guys I played against in high school, all of those guys was on that Mississippi State team. So I played against them in college.
Okay, well,
Gary Pegues, who we beat at Sapanola. So guys were always looking for revenge, or I was looking back for revenge to them, like Charles Burns, who got lucky and they beat us when he played at Hattiesburg High. So, I mean, we would be talking noise all week long to one another.
Well, listen, let me just ask you a different thing, too, okay? Is there a difference for a college football player or a team to play different at night than they do during the day? Is there really much difference? Like, for instance, Tennessee went to LSU at 11 a.m. and Tennessee blew out LSU, and LSU likes to play at night, and I understand that, but I was told this week that Tennessee is playing their first night game on the road this week against South Carolina. I'm just asking you, is there a big difference between playing at 11 or 2:30 or 7:30?
Dale, I don't know what it is, but it's just something about those night games that's just way more electrifying than those 11 o'clock games. I don't think the fans quite get involved in it like they do in those night games. There's just something about it. Listen, I cannot explain to you how it feels to play in Death Valley at night. I'm telling you, man, you cannot hear nothing. The fans is engaging throughout the whole entire game. They standing up, they playing neck. Well, you hoping they don't get a chance to play neck against you. They talking noise, they cussing you out. It ain't no better. I actually like that type of stuff. I mean, I feed off of it. I'm one of the players, but I mean, I can feed off that type of energy. But it's just something about a night game. The fans don't seem to don't engage in it as much as they do at 11 o'clock game. So, yeah, it definitely is a big difference.
Well, listen, was the SEC dominance the last decade, did you see it coming when you were up there?
Say it again, you said the SEC dominance?
The dominance like the SEC has now. I know it's kind of, this is a kind of down year, I guess, because Alabama is not in the hunt. But was it as dominant when you played?
Almost definitely. SEC definitely was dominant when I played. I mean, of course, Alabama was winning it all, but you had Tim Tebow, who we beat in the swamp, 31-30. Those guys was real good. Alabama beat Florida the next year, and they was able to go on and win it. I think the SEC. I don't think this is a down year though, Dale. I think people so used to seeing Alabama or Florida or Georgia win it all, which Georgia is probably going to win it all this year, that now that they seeing teams like Alabama with 2 losses in the season, LSU, they not been well. I think they good, but they think this is a down year for LSU. I think with guys looking now and seeing like these guys that used to winning it all and not having losses in the column, they feel like this is a down year. No, the SEC is just, the talent is getting spread out. I think the NIL, with this new NIL rules and stuff and this money getting thrown around, these guys, the talent is getting spread around. And I like that because it's any given Saturday. I mean, it was like that before, but even more so now because the talent is getting spread around.
That's one thing.
I don't like to see one team that's dominant like that and just winning all the time. You ain't tired of seeing Alabama win it all the time?
Well, it's good to see it.
You know how I feel about Ole Miss. We ain't nothing. You take Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
We beat Alabama. We 2 games away. We really was. We got a chance to run the table. I ain't gonna just count those wins yet. So we're gonna be in a hell of a fight tomorrow night in Arkansas, and State gonna give us their best, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But if we run the table these next 2 games, we 2 games behind from winning the SEC championship. I mean, we ain't been that dominant like that. So I like the way the talent is spread out, and any given Saturday, anybody can get beat. LSU supposed to lose against Arkansas last weekend.
The transfer portal, you talked about the NIL, and I was kind of shocked early in the season. It didn't take but a couple of weeks to see these guys showing up on these rosters, these 5 stars that may not have made it somewhere else, moving somewhere else. And it's added a lot of parity. It's equal things out to me. Is that what you see?
Right. That's what I see. You take Texas A&M, right? They got all those 5 stars, right?
Yes.
Well, with them guys not winning the way they thought they would win this year, a lot of those guys gonna get up and get out of there, man. It's gonna shake it, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I love Lane Kiffin's ability. Hopefully he stays with us. I believe he will. But I love his ability to recruit in the portal.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to do a great job of getting some of those guys. So we ain't nothing about 6 or 7 players away from winning the whole thing, believe it or not. We got a good football team. We got a lot of guys coming back. But Marshall, to kind of touch on what you're saying, I love that transfer portal thing, and I love the NIL thing.
Yeah.
It's spreading that talent out.
Yeah.
It's spreading that talent out. Now we're going to be able to see good football. You take a team like Kentucky, they're a solid football team.
Yeah.
Vandy probably going to always be the doormat of the SEC. That's okay.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday you could get beat. Kentucky supposed to beat us.
Yeah. Yeah.
They supposed to beat us. We supposed to beat Alabama. We didn't fumble. We didn't probably fumble going into halftime. We probably we'd be 9-1 right now. 10-1.
Yeah. Easily. Lane Kiffin, you talk about him. He's such that experience in the NFL. Now you've played at the league. You played in the league, and you know how it works at college. You know how it works in the league. Kiffin's been in the league, and he has such a good grasp on the way, like free agency / transfer portal. He knew how to work it before it ever was set up. You agree with that?
I agree 100%. Lane does a great job of. He knows how to recruit these guys. He knows how to relate to them. He does the things that's necessary. I hear a lot of guys. I heard a guy say, "We Ole Miss guy," and he's just like, "Well, I don't like that. I don't like the way Lane carries himself. He don't dress like a traditional head coach. He don't wear the suits with the cohons, whatever the case may be. I don't like him wearing that." I said, "Guys, this is a new day. These kids now love to see a head coach that dressed like them, or that interacts with some of the stuff they like." And he does a great job of interacting with these kids, and he able to recruit them. Yeah. And I mean, pulling up in a Rolls Royce. He was pulling up in a Rolls Royce recruiting guys. That's what they like. Yeah. That's what they like now. So I mean, you got to be able to adjust and overcome in any situation, and this is what we have to do to recruit these guys. And I love Lane's ability to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think
he gets it done.
Yeah, I think he and Deion Sanders are the most culturally relevant coaches in football today. Mm-hmm. Those two guys.
100%.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, this is my take. You take a person like Saban. He's not a big fan of NIL. You know why, right? Because he's not going to do the next things necessary. That's what he's an old school coach. Of course, I'm sure everybody do what they take to get some of the players, and that's what goes on. But now with this thing getting spread out and money being a factor, and you got to have that cool factor like the way Lane and Deion them, or like you just said, they able to interact with the culture with these kids and do the things that's necessary, you're going to see a lot of these coaches like Nick start to get weaved out because they're not going to get the best players.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these schools are getting this NIL money up. I think we at $6.5 million. We done raised 6.5. We trying to get ours up to $12 million.
Yeah.
We got $12 million to give kids.
Yeah.
Man, with the way Lane able to interact with those kids and $12 million to get these kids and spread it around, that's gonna hurt Nick.
Hotty toddy.
Who you are? That's right. I don't care hotty toddy, baby. And that's why Nick don't like it.
Yeah.
Because now it ain't all about you recruiting a kid. It's not they got 17 national championship ring. They probably get something out of Alabama. But, we go over here and let's win. Oh, I know I can win. I can play good. I'm experienced win. Now you can win over here at Ole Miss or Mississippi State or any other of these programs. You can win. You can get paid. And you can play for a guy that you can relate to versus a Nick. You know what I mean? Not taking credit from him, but you know what I mean? Lane is a cool guy.
Yeah.
And this is what these guys, they want to play for a cool guy that can relate to them and their culture.
Yeah. Jerell, we don't get a chance to talk to somebody like you every day that's been there and done it. But I want to go back to the Egg Bowl. You play in Starkville versus you playing in Oxford. How big a deal is it to you as a player where you play that football game?
Oh, it's big because I'm going to tell you something. Hey, credit to state. It ain't easy going down there getting a win. I like I said, I was 1-2 against them guys.
Yeah.
We was up in the game. We had I think we was 9-3. Well, we ended up going 9-3. We was we rolled in there with 2 losses. Supposed to beat them. It was one of our Cotton Bowl years, and we go down there and we get our ass whooped. I mean, it ain't easy playing in Starkville.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. They ring those cowbells. They fans gonna be in tune in the game. They gonna be talking noise, calling us out our name. It ain't easy going down there. So I mean, it's real big where the game is played. You definitely want the home field advantage. I mean, we was able to go down there. I went to the game last year, and it was very hostile. We was able to go out there. We were clearly the better team. They had a pretty good team, but we were definitely the better team last year. But Matt Corral and them wasn't able to really seal the deal towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like that this year. Yeah. This is probably going to be one of the better Cotton Bowls that we've not seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So you got Will Rogers, he can sling it. I mean, he can, he ain't no deep threat, but he can get that ball where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And they rolling, so we can't count them out. This is going to be one of the better games.
Yeah.
So,
How has the defensive changes in college football as far as the schemes and everything compared to when you played? Is it a little bit different with all the spread offenses that they're seeing?
well, yes, sir. Well, a lot of the offenses running no-huddle offense, so you see a lot of you bigger guys, like a guy like me. I would have had to lose hell of weight. I probably would have had to be. I played at Ole Miss. I had got down to like 317. That was a good weight to play against this offense, but I probably would have had to get down a little bit smaller, probably about 310, 305, just to be able to play at a high level against this no-huddle offense. You see a lot of these guys, you don't see the bigger traditional nose guard like when I played, because a lot of them guys were running a lot of 22 personnel, 21 personnel. They even when they running in the gun, they were running more of like a power offense. A lot of these guys running this no-huddle spread, they snapping the ball within 10 seconds. So the defenses definitely have changed there, to answer your question. You have to play with a lot of nickel package, which is traditionally a lot of pass rushers up front that can get after the passer. Every now and then you throw a run snapper and you go with what they would call a big nickel. You just only really have one guy in that can rush the passer but play the run in the middle. But you kind of got like your nickel defense out there. So yeah, it's not what it used to be.
Well, I watch Big Ten football a little bit from time to time, And I've noticed them, they have such huge offensive linemen. I mean, just mammoth guys. And then you look at some of our SEC linemen, and they don't look as big. They look like they're 30, 40 pounds lighter on the offensive line. I guess we have to do that because of the offenses.
Right, yeah, like I said earlier, like I just said, you had guys like, back when I played, like I give you an example of the offensive lineman. Alabama had Andre Smith, who weighed 340. You had DJ Fluker, who weighed 340. You had Chase Womack. All these guys went first round. Chase Womack was 330. You had the center, Lee, what's his name? He was at 325 at center. So you had all that power. You had the downhill power running. They ran the power down your throat and made you love it. So, yeah, a lot of these guys, they had to change their offensive scheme and defensive scheme. So a lot of these guys now, they're not your traditional sizes. They smaller and real athletic, though. I will say that. They really, like, you got to be you got to be able to move in space and be smaller and be able to play in the offense, withstand all that fast snapping and stuff they're going on, quick snapping.
Well, that's very true, and we do appreciate your knowledge on that, because that has changed even since you finished college. Who is the most exciting player that you might have played against in your college days?
The most exciting player
On the other team, yeah, on the other teams that you.
Oh,
played.
yeah, I got you. I'm thinking. I'm going to be honest with you. I never forget. I'm going to go off of feelings that I remember playing against the Pouncey twins my sophomore year. And I remember being nervous because I knew who they was. I knew they was good. And I just remember being somewhat nervous. And again, of course, you got Tim Tebow, and you know, and you got Aaron Hernandez. You know, the whole team was loaded. I remember being nervous and going against those guys, and not really sure, not really as confident going into the game as I would be, because I remember having to play extremely hard against those guys my sophomore year. And when you talk about individuals, I'm talking about individual play. I remember having to play against those guys. So those guys, I give those guys credit. And you see the career that those guys went on to have in the NFL. Marquise played like 12, 14 years with the Steelers. All-pro guy 6, 7 times. So I will give it to him in college. Tim Tebow just playing against Tim Tebow and Cam Newton. I just remember, even though we beat Florida, I just remember when we played against these guys, I just had that feeling like they just so hard to stop. Yeah. Like especially Cam, it was just like we can't stop him.
Yeah.
We can't stop him no matter how I play this block, no matter what. It's just like, they made me want to guess. Yeah. And that's the last thing that you want to do as a defensive lineman, because you have to do your job. So, you know, when you get to I'm going to do this, I'm going to make the play. I remember Cam kind of made me want to guess because I feel like we couldn't stop him.
Yeah. Jerell, we're getting a little short on
line, but
Go ahead.
You guys done got me talking now. Keep going. I'm talking. I'm loving it.
Keep going.
I got to give some more guys
Come
their
on.
flowers.
Come on.
I got to give the center at Alabama. I forget his name. He was all work. Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Brett. I know his last name. Barrett Jones.
Barrett Jones.
He was good.
Yeah.
Yes, real good. Yeah. Real good. Hell of a position blocker. If you didn't move your feet lateral, you going to get reached and cut off, buddy. Real good. You had to be at the top of your game. I remember him. So I got to give him his flowers.
Yeah.
Let me see somebody else, a skill player. I remember. I got to give those guys that state their credit too. I really do.
Yeah.
I just remember just how they just never laid down.
Yeah.
They never laid down. They kicked my ass twice, even though I kicked theirs my sophomore year. Well, we did as a team, but I just remember, like, no matter what, those guys, that feeling of being nervous from the first snap, it was the same way throughout the whole entire game.
Wow.
That's the truth, because those guys, a lot of in-state guys like a Quentin Salisbury. You got Gabe Jackson, who's still playing for the Seattle Seahawks. And I remember just going against them. They want to kick my behind. I want to kick theirs. You know, we all done heard about one another.
Yeah.
You got Anthony Dixon out there that won't shut up. We talking noise back to him. You got Pernell McPhee over there on the sideline throwing the short. You know, I'm ready to make a play and throw it back up at it. You know, so I just remember that game. I got to give the state team they flowers. That game right there is so electrifying, man. The same way you feel from the start, the same way you're gonna feel towards the end. I got to give them those flowers.
Listen, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to change gears on you a little bit. I mean, you're a well-respected individual around here. Jerell Powe is, you know, one of Wayne County's favorite sons. And if you could tell young athletes, high school age athletes, if you could give them any advice about advancing in the game, going to the next level, what would you tell them?
This is what I would tell any high school kid that have dreams of going to the next level. You hear it all the time. Nobody stays the same. You either get better or you get worse. I love the Any Given Sunday speech when he said, one step too fast or one step too slow makes all the difference in the world. And that comes from perfecting your craft. You have to, if you want to be able to go to the next level, because you asked me earlier, like, what was the difference between high school and college?
Yeah.
Well, every level, it got faster. I had to adjust and adapt to it. Like, I thought I was going to go into college and just dominate right away. But I seen some time I was getting my behind kicked in practice and stuff. I had to learn how to settle down, use my hands, come out of my hips, use my hands, and bring my feet. Yeah. Same thing transitioning to the pro level. So all of that comes with working your craft. Yeah. Bill Kolar, my defensive line coach for the Houston Texans, he told us this one day. He said, just when you think you have made it, that's when your game will start to decline. When you think you don't have to do the necessary. Yeah. So I would tell any high school kid every day, perfect your craft.
Yeah.
Keep working. Work. It's gonna pay off. Yeah. If you really want it, you use your hands every day. If it's staying out to practice 5 minutes, you have gained just that edge just to stand out to practice for 5 minutes. You have got the edge over someone. Yeah. If it's just watching a little bit more film and learning, all right, if they come out at 21 personnel and they got eye near, they running the power. Most kids don't even know that, but if you can learn that, okay, in 21, this right here is called eye near. They are running the power, 100%. Okay, if they come out in 11 personnel, there's one back in the field. That means if they run the ball, they ain't probably running it down here. Chances are about 70% of the chance they are running sideline to sideline. Just that little bit. If a high school kid can just pick up on that and learn that would put him so much ahead of the game amongst any other high school kid. So, but I would just tell them just to keep working and perfect your craft. Just keep grinding every day. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. Nobody stay the same.
There you go. Jerell, we thank you. We thank you for being Jerell Powe. We thank you for what you mean to our community, and we thank you for taking time to chat with our audience tonight. We appreciate you, Jerell. Wish you the best in all you do.
I appreciate you guys.
All right.
War Eagle, baby.
War Eagle. Hang on with us, Jerell, just a minute. We're going to take a break here from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the final segment after this word.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. How about that Jerell, Dale? Hey, that rhymes. How about that Jerell, Dale? How you like that, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah, same to you, and same to all our listeners. No, Jerell's a great guest, and you know he's He is really a good guy.
Yeah.
People just, you got to get to know him, but I'm telling you what, he is witty and he's funny and he's a little bit smarter than people give him credit for.
Yeah, I think he is. You know what? You watch him and you see him. He's around town. He's living in Atlanta. I think that's what he told us. And he comes around. He's always helping and doing stuff. He's a player.
He gives back to his school.
Yeah.
I do know that. Yeah. So that's always great. He had a little softball tournament over here the last couple of years.
Had some big Jeffrey Simmons and people like that down here.
Yeah, and they raised a little money for the athletics up there, and that's always good.
Yeah. Well, Dale, tell me, how many egg bowls do you remember? All of them?
Well, no, honestly.
That's a little joke there.
Yeah. No, the first true Egg Bowl I went to, I'd gone to some Ole Miss games before, but a bunch of us from here in Waynesboro, we drove up here and spent the night. If you can believe this, we spent the night in Starkville and then drove over to Oxford the next day.
What a bunch of
nuts. I don't know why we did that, but that's what we did.
Y'all spoiling for a fight, is what you're doing.
We saw the 1970 Egg Bowl between Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and Archie Manning had broke his arm a couple weeks before that.
Against Houston.
Yeah, and I was actually there at the Houston game when he broke his arm too, and so that was a. But anyway, State prevailed that day, 19-14. They had a really good quarterback. I can't remember his name.
Wasn't Joe Reed, was it?
No, Joe was a little bit behind this guy, and anyway, State ended up going 6-5 that year, and that was an odd year for Ole Miss because they lost to all their rivals. Yeah. They lost to Southern Miss, Mississippi State, and LSU that year. Those were their three big rivals.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and so that was.
Well, let me ask you this: we're about out of time.
Yeah.
But who's going to win the Egg Bowl?
Well, I don't really know because these games. I've been to some, and I never thought that one of the teams would have won because they were they were a big underdog and stuff like this. But State's got a lot to play for. If they win, they'll be 8-4. They'll be number 3 in the West, and that's pretty good with the schedule they had. But they play different away from Starkville. Yeah. They've only won one game this year away from Starkville, and they're 0-3 in the SEC on the road. Yeah. But when they play in Starkville, they're 6-1, and the only loss was to Georgia. And so they just play a different type of ball there. And, Ole Miss is, I don't say they're at a disadvantage, but they played a very good Arkansas team last Saturday night. And they had to travel, and, their schedule's kind of messed up. They didn't have East Tennessee like Mississippi State does, which to me, that's great scheduling by Mississippi State. And so, Ole Miss is going to have to rebound because they just didn't really look really impressive for 3 quarters the other night.
There's a lot of stuff going on outside the lines with Kiffin and the talk about he may be there and he may not. I read an article in the paper. I didn't read it. I saw the headlines and got sidetracked. Saw an article in the paper this, I believe it was yesterday, in one of the papers on a news feed that said the coach up there, Leach, is in trouble at State. Have you read anything on that? They talk about getting rid of him.
Well, that's another problem, for State. I mean, if he would lose to Ole Miss, he'd be 0-3. That weighs into it. Jerell told us that it affects recruiting, it affects everything.
It's everything.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, when you gonna beat them? I mean, I can hear them starting that after if Ole Miss would win this ball game. But I think it'd be a great game.
It should be. They usually are, and I love the fact that it's on Thanksgiving. We'll have a good time. But Dale, unfortunately, we're out of time, or fortunately, maybe, for some. Mm-hmm. But anyway, remember that you can follow us during the week on our Facebook page at the Brouhaha. You can also keep up with all of our shows cataloged on our YouTube channel, and you guessed it, the Brouhaha. But for now and tonight, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
And we'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.